Yeah, so we had I thought, a very productive discussion last week, and had a lot of good brainstorming going on about things we're going to do going forward. But one of the very tangible things we're going to do that I'm so excited about is a program for girls, middle school girls, will be held on Roosevelt Island, and a number of the girls from our Roosevelt Island school will be there in attendance. I think there's 25 total, something like that, girls that will be there. So a couple other schools will be represented. It's an 8-week session, and it teaches them everything from coding to robotics, and the whole idea is to get young girls or young women excited about tech. And so this is going to be held, as I said, on Roosevelt Island. It's 8 weeks. In addition to doing that, they'll hear from industry leaders. We're going to bring in women, especially in the tech profession. They're going to do some field trips, one of which is to our campus in Chelsea. So I think we're all very excited and think it's going to be a great experience. How do you do?
It was a match.
We matched? Perfect. Yay. I'm not even practicing.
But now, let me ask you a question. As an older person at this table, explain specifically girls who code. What does that mean? I'm technologically challenged. So would you explain in a little more detail exactly what these girls are going to be doing?
Well, they're going to learn how to program. So they're going to learn how to take ideas and turn them into language that they can actually be used. So they're going to learn how to program.
Okay.
Yeah. It's very hands-on.
Does anyone else have any questions?
Cathy, can you just repeat how many girls you're expecting to be in the program?
My recollection is about 25. It's somewhere between 20 and 25. And it's an 8-week session.
And how are they selected? Or
they apply.
Okay.
So we have a total of 4 schools that we opened this up for applications. So all 4 schools have some representation, the largest representation being from Roosevelt Island, right?
Yes. And is this being held at PSIS 217? Where is this being held?
It's being held in Roosevelt Landings. They were wonderful and donated space. So it's...
What is Roosevelt Landings?
Oh, I'm sorry. It's on Main Street. So Urban America owns the... It's a large apartment complex.
Oh, I see. Dana was just telling us how she hoped in the future that the 2 institutions would be working closely together and hopefully assisting the school, maybe supplying equipment and programs and helping bring their science program forward. You're in a great position, better than our schools here in Manhattan, with you folks being so close, to really have an impact.
Yeah, you know, we're really excited about it. So a couple things. I mean, Cornell is a large institution with a number of wonderful programs. From other than the medical school, most of those programs are based in Ithaca, but that doesn't mean we can't connect with our colleagues in Ithaca and see how in some really positive ways we can do some things here on the campus and here on Roosevelt Island with them. Our campus's primary focus is going to be around tech, primary focus. So part of the conversation we had last week was to really think about how do we balance those 2 things. So things like biology won't necessarily be things our campus does, but we certainly have colleagues in Ithaca that I think will be interested and engaged at some level in seeing how they can work with the children and the teachers in the school. And then our campus specifically will be focusing on tech. So it'll be a combination of those. And again, I thought the discussion we had last week was really helpful because we started getting specific on some of the ideas and some of the ways we need to we want to collaborate. And I think we're scheduled to meet again in about 3 weeks.
We're going to meet up after the girls at Code have a couple of weeks into their session and then go and visit that.
So one of the things Megan and I are in the process of doing is we're going to hire a full-time coordinator. As one of our first few staff, all of you here, well not all of you, but a number of you here know that we're really small still. But K-12 has been so important to us. So one of the first staff we're bringing on board is going to be a full-time coordinator. This is going to be somebody with a professional background in education hopefully in New York City. That would be very helpful. So in the next few months, we're going to do some recruiting and interviewing for that. So by the fall, we should have somebody on board. And having a professional in this area, just focusing full time on how we can work with the school, I think it's just going to raise us to a whole nother level. So it's a big step.
And there are some other interesting things about partnerships with 4-H and Cornell Cooperative Extension, things that are kind of in existence and under the umbrella of Cornell that could be a great aid to the school if the school feels that's a good match. Some existing powerful things.
There are. So Cornell Cooperative Extension, which many of you know, does a lot with school children, and they're very interested in seeing what we can do in the island. And then, you know, even way back in the old days of thinking about the proposal for the Applied Sciences campus, I've been at Cornell a long time. I learned a ton about some of the things that Cornell and Ithaca are actually some of the programs we're doing here in New York City. So I remember one, there was a physics program where Cornell physics professors in Ithaca were working with New York City kids. That program, I think, has morphed into something else, but there are lots of opportunities, I think, of ways to engage. So many existing programs.
I think that's really terrific for the school, and I think it's going to bring your school, the standards, particularly for your middle school, I think will improve over the years. And we're going to get to middle school later on in the discussion, but that's been one of the problems here. The parents in Manhattan, I don't know if you hear much discussion on the island about it, is that we don't have enough middle school space. We've certainly built 3 new elementary schools. These kids are going to grow up. Where are they going to go to middle school? And of course, the parents up here still feel from middle school they'd like their children to be close to home. Okay, high school may be a different story than they're ready to commute. So I think with this partnership going on, that it's really going to be wonderful for your school. Does anyone else have any other?
Sorry, I came a little late. I work at the special ed school at the island.
Child school? Yeah.
And we're having some changes this year. So I came to try to present myself. I'm the math coordinator and Cathy and I'd like just to open a contact officially. And also work together with the S217 because we are very close. And I will be on board of any kind of program, and because we have very special kids in our school.
What's your name?
Cathy. Okay. Yeah, I put my name here on the list.
Is this, may I ask, a public school or a private
No,
school?
it's a private school. How can I say? It's a private school, but with public funds.
And is this for District 75 students?
It's not District 75. It's like, imagine like a huge resource room that all the schools don't have in 5 boroughs. They all bus, the kids come, like more than 30 buses from all over the place. They come to the island, and we provide services for them. And we do like elementary, middle school, high school, and we do Regents program, track, vocational. We have 300 students there. And actually, it's not a student from the neighborhood. Of course, there are some from the neighborhood, but it's a school who comes students from Staten Island, Bronx, all over the place. But we are in the island for 10 years now.
Okay.
At Roosevelt Island.
So these are special classes that you offer. This isn't.
No, the entire school is a learning disability school.
Oh, it is learning.
School.
It's a private school.
Is it
It's a
learning-
state approved, but it's
But
private.
for
It's
learning
completely private.
children with learning disabilities. Okay, I got it now.
We can exchange cards.
Yes, Rick.
Could you flesh out a little bit more what Cornell means by adopting 217? Will there be any kind of formal agreement between the school and Cornell?
No,
Or just
so
more
that-
an ad hoc type of basis?
So we, I think, have a lot of ideas about what it means. I don't think there's any legal definition to adopt a school. is well known, at least that I know of. But that was the purpose of our first discussion, to really figure out kind of how do we think about depth and breadth. And so everybody would look at this like, yes, Cornell and the school are truly in partnership, and we're working at many different levels. So I think, Rick, you know that we've talked for a while about engaging with a handful of pilot schools, especially at the middle school level, and we're still going to do this, but in my mind what adopt a school means is that the Roosevelt Island School is truly kind of a broadly defined, that's where our focus is going to be. We're going to do a lot with these other schools, but the Roosevelt Island School at many different levels will be engaged. It'll be a good anchor. And it'll be in perpetuity, whereas these other schools potentially may change. You know, our engagement may wane or may increase depending what the programs are. I truly see the Roosevelt Island School as something that we're there.
I just, said you were in tech, and I'm actually not a tech person at all, but we recently was aware of a report that it's so important to get girls into coding.
Yep.
That it's actually not just something new here, but it's something that should be old here. There was an article in the New York Times last month, 2 months ago, I think in March or April, that England was having Girls with Code initiative and outreach, and they were spreading it to Estonia because all kids love computers. So a little bit. We try to keep them away, some destroy them. And as you get older in the teenage years, there's peer pressures where girls are sort of pushed aside in sort of an unconscious, what Britain called unconscious sex bias in their study of boys play with computers, use them, girls do other things. And considering the number of jobs in almost every field that's going to be involved coding, from medicine to engineering, you know, people think of coding as the computer profession. But coding is in engineering. We have Attorney General's office have coders for cases. So it's actually going to be a doorway into all kinds of professions. And I obviously have no idea what causes unconscious sex bias, but it's not something that, oh, here's Cornell. It's something that the world is doing, and if we didn't do here, we wouldn't be catching up. So it's a great thing to have on the Upper East Side.
Yeah, I think it's a terrific program, and I think it's just one of many we're going to be doing, especially in the Roosevelt Island School. The focus this summer is on girls. I think it would be great to continue to have a significant focus on girls, because especially in the STEM fields, they're significantly underrepresented, but we'll certainly be doing things with boys too. I think every kid needs this kind of exposure.
Are there any other questions?
Are we doing just Cornell or just general?
No, well, we started, Mandana was our guest, and for those of you who's the first at this meeting, we do a different school every month, and we did Roosevelt Island this month. In September we'll be doing a different school, and then we kind of branched out because this was the first with Cornell, and we wanted to get some notes and get the minutes. Let me just say at this point, I didn't say earlier, all of our meetings are recorded. The recordings are kept in the board office. After the minutes are published at our full board meeting, then they go up on the website. So we find this very helpful for parents who call and ask about various schools, and we refer them to the website and say, well, the principal from 217 was here, and this is what she had to say about the school, and maybe you would like to go look at our minutes of June 2013. It saves everybody in the office and ourselves a lot of time, and we find it's very helpful to have our minutes up on the website. And we encourage, at the bottom of the agenda, there are some more agendas here, by the way, for people who came in later. Take some and pass them around. Is our website address at the end of the agenda.
Can I just add
Sure.
something? Is this the end of the agenda?
Yeah, this item, unless anybody else has anything else to contribute.
Well, I just want to, on behalf of Cornell, thank, I know this is a subset of Community Board 8, but thank you for inviting us tonight. We haven't been back to the Community Board actually since we went through the ULIP process, and we're very grateful for all the support and input. And back to Rick's excellent question, what does it mean to adopt a school? If you'd be willing to have us back, I think in the next few months we're really going to be able to put some meat around what does it mean for the Roosevelt Island School, because what's important to us is we do something that's meaningful for this particular school. So we'd love to come back and start explaining to you as we start defining that better, what it means to get your input. So
Would you,
Happy to come back.
when would you want to do that? October, November?
So
Because we
sometime
started
late
with-
fall, I think we know, we'd
Pick
be
'em
able to
up.
come back and talk about it. And hopefully we'll have our coordinator here too, and who I know would love to be with this group.
Yeah, November would be better.
November would be good. Oh, great, we'd love to have you come
Thank
back. And expand on what the program is going to be.
Yep.
And also, it'll give us time to get other community board members who might want to know what you folks are doing to come.
That'd be great. Thank you.
And I just, and that would be so wonderful because as a rep for one of the directors of RIC, the Roosevelt Island Community Coalition, that kind of got 37 organizations on Roosevelt Island together and kind of heard what their wants and needs and concerns were as Cornell comes onto Roosevelt Island. And I think meetings like that are tangible and concrete will help so many folks, not just the residents of Roosevelt Island, but the organizations, the nonprofits, the businesses that do work with Roosevelt Island. Throughout this whole ULURP process, we've always said that we want to be able to herald the successes of Cornell coming on board to Roosevelt Island, as well as be able to voice the concerns that the community has at an exciting but really long-term construction project. So I think meetings that are more concrete are so helpful, and then we can take it back as a director to all our members who have lots of their own members and really get the word out, because I find when there's not good communication, there's misunderstandings, and there really doesn't need to be if we have some concrete information. So that would be wonderful.
Happy to do it.
Well, I
If
personally
you're
think-
happy.
I personally think it's an extremely exciting plan. I think it's going to be great for your school, and I think it's going to be great for the residents of our city. So we certainly would be happy to have you back. If there's, yes, sir.
And this might serve as a model for other institutions that make their home here. I think that New York Presbyterian Hospital is probably the largest private employer in the city, certainly on the certainly in Manhattan. We've got Rockefeller University, Hospital Surgery, Hunter College. As this evolves, I can see this making a strong bond with the community. Thank you for taking the lead on it. But I'll take credit for it. That's why I stood up there.
We like to think of Roosevelt Island as the little island next to the big island. So all the pilot programs that happen on Roosevelt Island might be a great springboard to be in
The little
Manhattan.
island that could.
That's it. That's exactly right. Thank you.
Okay. Our next guest